You good?
So we try on no word basis, huh?
Thank you to our final patrons, Strawbones, Red4765, and Midnight Gemlord. Now, before I'm in this breakdown / discussion on Merlin and why she seems so stranger than usual, please leave your own thoughts on Merlin for the Apocalypse in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come on the channel. Also, I do a Patreon down below is for as low as $1 monthly, like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, let's hop into the discussion. What's up, guys? Hello, Pencil here, and Merlin has just been weird than usual, and like I can't exactly place my finger on why. Because the thing is, right, Merlin in the original series was the word enigma given like form and feeling and a character design. Like, seriously, Merlin in the original series is arguably the weakest character out of the Seven Deadly Sins, because for most of the series she's just a plot device. Like, even a character like Diane has a more direct interaction with the story. And of course, all of this builds to the chaos reveal at the very end, and obviously she loved Meliodas and all the stuff like that. But still, for the longest time in the original narrative, Merlin was kind of just there, doing things for reasons. And of course, when you have a character that's there, doing things for reasons, it's kind of hard to get attached to them. It's kind of hard to get a read on their character too. So, I will not lie, it is entirely possible that I should expect nothing from Merlin, because, like, the original series gave us nothing except for her chaos motivation after she got... What's the word I'm looking for that's legal to say? Regardless, you know what happened to Merlin when it came to her interest in Meliodas and a certain goddess coming in and snatching that little demon guy up. So, in that case, I guess this Merlin in Four Knights is fine. Like, it's not like I'm really expecting anything from her character, but at least on the basis of what fake expectations I had from her character, her going from mischievous, cunning, plotting, manipulative mage of all of Britannia, you know, the top op for pretty much everybody in terms of magical ability, to standing around and doing nothing. Like, what? Like, legitimately, what has she accomplished? At all? Like, not even accomplished. What has she done? I think she's had a total of, like, 2 lines the entire series. We're 90 chapters deep and she's had 2 lines, and she's appeared multiple times. It's not like we have a lack of appearances for her. She's appeared more than some other characters have appeared who have had more lines than her. And obviously she's one of the titular characters of the previous series, so you would think the Sin of Gluttony herself would have a little bit more to say, but now she's kind of just there in the background and occasionally in the foreground. Like, in the most recent chapter, we saw Arthur was trying to get in where he could fit in with Merlin, but, like, she doesn't even say anything. She just looks sad. But does she even look sad? Like, the thing is, her mouth is covered now, too. And admittedly, I don't know about y'all, but it is very hard to tell what a person is feeling just with their eyes. Like, I know eyes are the windows to the soul and everything, but, like, the whole face gives you a much more descriptive picture of someone's emotions, and we just straight up haven't seen her face. Like, 90 chapters deep, I believe at least 4 or 5 separate appearances, and she just has not said much words and or shown her face. And it's just weird. It's just strange. I don't know. That's the general word I would use to describe Merlin in Four Knights so far. Strange. And not in the Seven Deadly Sins strange, where she's just like a strange character with a whole ton of knowledge and abilities that she, for all intents and purposes, really shouldn't have. But just strange in the fact that, I don't know, there's just nothing here, and I don't know what we're doing. Like, I'm not sure what Nakaba's cooking right now, because admittedly, Nakaba, he was... It's arguable. I need to actually sit down to make a video about the end of Seven Deadly Sins and my general thoughts on it, because I don't think I've ever actually, like, sat down and codified those. So I do need to, because I do have thoughts. I do have extensive thoughts about the end of Seven Deadly Sins, but I never actually sat down and talked about them. But that video for another time. For all intents and purposes, Nakaba was making Merlin cook throughout the entire series. Like, straight up, from the point where she gave up on Meliodas and Heard of Chaos, she's apparently been cooking for all 3,000 of those years. And the thing is, she could be cooking right now. but I just don't know what she's making. Like, legitimately, I'm back in the same spot of Seven Deadly Sins Season 1, where I think all Nakaba's doing right now is just setting up a mystery. He's making us wonder. Because, admittedly, whether you've read Seven Deadly Sins or you're just new to Four Knights, Merlin is pretty much just as enigmatic. Except, with a Four Knights fan, you just have no context of the person Merlin really used to be. So now you're just looking at this weird silent mage that is kind of just standing around. And she's been hinted at to be one of the members of the Seven Deadly Sins. Like, she's shown in all their group panels. But in reality, like, that doesn't give you much. Just like she isn't giving you much right now. And her interactions with Arthur seem strange, for lack of a better term, going off what little information we have of her based on her slight little reactions and the few lines she has. She's gone from mad scientist interested in consuming all the information creation has to offer over an infinite time period because she simply knows that upon a limited lifespan she can never discover everything she wants to know, and she wants to know everything, to yes woman. Like that's it. Like, she gave us a whole diatribe about who she is, who she was, why she did all this, why she froze her time, all that. Which, who knows, maybe even the original series is just recodified as a lie, because why not? But seeing her, like, reduced to this kind of just has me scratching my head, like, okay, what are we building to? And there are, like, a couple ideas that have gone in my head. One, we're just building to nothing. Like, straight up, Merlin is kind of just, like, weirdly enough, I want to say a Saïx, but Saïx wasn't like stale in KH2. He's more like, how do I put this? He's more like a Zaldin, or she's more like a Zaldin from KH2. Like, really weird obsession, doesn't say much. Whatever they do is forwarding to that obsession, and that's kind of it until we beat them. That's what Nakaba could be building up to right now. Because, for all intents and purposes, all I see Merlin as right now, considering she has very little character at this point other than saying yes and doing whatever she can to support Arthur, is she's going to be a boss fight. Like that's it. She's going to be like one of the second to last or penultimate final boss fights in this Chaos King arc. And she's going to be like, I won't let you take away chaos. Or she may not even say anything, considering she rarely says things now. So she may just like pull up with Alden and be like, knights, and then try to fight them. That's all I can see right now. And I don't know. The weird thing is, like, I think she could have ties, if not flat out just does have ties to Gawain. I 100% fail to believe, I refuse to believe that just happenstance, just one way or another, Sunshine managed to find its way to Gawain. After Merlin's only love across 3,000 years was the last wielder of Sunshine. Wouldn't it be convenient if the next wielder of Sunshine ended up being a quote-unquote ally to Camelot, if not just straight up directly tied into it, considering it's the niece of her king? Wouldn't that be a little bit convenient? So I want to say there are ties there. And it is entirely possible that Merlin is just playing a two-faced game right now. That's the other thing I think Nakaba could be building to. The fact that Merlin is kind of just standing by, waiting, watching, observing, doing technically what she wanted to do in the original series. Chaos was, as she put it, infinite possibilities, just endless, boundless creations and stuff like that. And right now, she may not be the same active, crazed scientist as she was before because, well, she got her wish. Chaos is here, albeit not in its purest form. It is still trapped within a human vessel, but considering she literally, let me not say that word. You know which word I want to say. She literally trained Arthur to be the perfect vessel for Chaos. She literally pretty much picked up the boy from, age like 5 or something, and ended up raising him to be the perfect vessel for Chaos itself. Like, she did all that. With that being the case, like, she is probably happy. We just don't see it because she has a thing over her mouth. She could be smiling the entire time. That's the thing about having this mask on. I assume every single look where we look down at her or she's just being quiet or responding, she could have the biggest, goofiest, dumbest, stupidest grin on her face. Like, yes, Arthur, use the powers of chaos to be the ultimate king of chaos, yes. But I don't know. It's just weird. I don't necessarily get that vibe just because she's so oddly quiet. Like, she's not taking notes. She's not, like, pushing Arthur to create more things. All she's doing is standing around. am I missing something? Like, legitimately, it's just like I'm watching this character who admittedly was pretty passive for a majority of the series. He kind of just supported Meliodas' dream. So maybe that's just her role. Like, she feels like I have no right to do anything on my own liberally now that I have achieved my dream. So I shall now just consistently support the dream of another, as I've done for the past 3,000 years. If so, I guess it's fine. Once again, I'm kind of looking for a meal that wasn't necessarily being cooked, at least in my mind, right? Because if you ask me, with the way Nakaba talks about Seven Deadly Sins now, a prequel, something that's built up to Four Knights, all that, I feel like Merlin, one of the characters who is, once again, very essential to Arthurian mythology, and also didn't get much in the original series other than Unrequited Love and a Chaos King, I feel like this was her series to cook. This was her time to pop off, but I don't know, 90 chapters deep, Gother's popped off more. Merlin's popped off more. Elizabeth has popped off more. Heck, King, Bond, and Diane have popped up more, and they showed up for one panel each. At least in modern times. Of course, they showed up in flashback panels, but that doesn't count. So with that being, heck, Escanor has popped off more. And he's been only in flashback panels. And his surrogate has been running around doing what it can do. And I don't know. It just feels like we may or may not be building to something, and that uncertainty is something that I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, typically, I can feel when Nakaba's cooking something. Like, to spare Percy, Nakaba's cooking. Nakaba's cooking. You can feel that. Like, he's working something with Percy's magic. The mini Percy's, he's definitely cooking something with that too. Like, that is gonna be something that's gonna happen. The mini Percy platoon, that's gonna pop off. You can tell he's cooking with the demon side of Tristan's biology. You know he's cooking. He's written so many things about that. The whole plot of Greenwich Edinburgh is based around a mistake. Lancelot has a scar because of it. Nakaba's cooking with that. Lancelot's whole journey with Jericho and his own journey of self-discovery as he's going on this, yeah, Nakaba's cooking with that. You can see how he's chefing it up right here, right now. He even has a little side plot of him chefing it up with Lance having a weapon. All of that. Nakaba is indeed chefing it up right now. Heck, even Gawain, a character really relatively recently introduced, is cooking with her interests, her likes, her dislikes, all the stuff like that, her overall goal, the idea that she could hypothetically betray Leonis, all the stuff like that. We're cooking something with a whole ton of characters. Heck, even Ananasians are cooking. And with her whole ties to Camelot through her mystery relationship with her mother and stuff like that, and nonsense to the fact that he's literally no one. And that can either go nowhere or somewhere extreme, and that's the good thing. Everyone else feels like Meliodas is cooking. Because he's trying to save Arthur. I don't know if I like what he's cooking, but he's cooking. He's cooking something. Elizabeth has been cooking. You saw, we've gotten good results of her character so far. Everyone, even Arthur himself, is cooking. Bro is popping off to be one of the best, if not the best antagonist the Seven Deadly Sins / Four Knights world has ever produced, just on his current actions and motives and all the stuff like that. He is cooking. So if everyone else is cooking, Sylvan is cooking more than Merlin's cooking. I guess that's my biggest thing. Everywhere else, I can feel like people are in the kitchen. I feel like people are chefing it up. They're throwing the seasonings, throwing the spices in. They're tenderizing the meat. They're sauteing the vegetables. They're doing good stuff. But Merlin, I don't know. Like, I feel like we're not cooking right now. and it's not like we're not cooking with gas. It's not like we're not cooking with oil. It's just that we're not cooking. The stove's not even on. The oven, not even preheated. Like, we're just standing around watching. Like, legitimately, if I had better editing skills, I would literally put Merlin behind, like, a whole kitchen of great ingredients and then just not doing anything. Her just standing there and staring at us, because that's all she's doing right now. And I don't know. I feel very mixed on the fact that it feels like one of our titular characters from the previous series just isn't cooking. But simultaneously, I wonder, because for the longest time, I didn't know what Nakaba was cooking with Esterosa. I legitimately didn't. And then that ended up being one of, if not flat out, the best plot twist in all of Seven Deadly Sins. As much as I clown on my elf fans for overrating the man, in terms of character writing, he's literally like top 3. Like, maybe top 2. Not top 3, because I really like Meliodas Escanor. But in terms of that writing, that plot twist, that juicy stuff, That for the longest time I didn't know was cooking, but it ended up literally being my favorite thing that came out of Seven Deadly Sins, because it was just so good. It was so juicy, so tender. Whatever, when Esterosa and Nakuba were up in the kitchen whipping it up, chefing up Mael, it was scrumptious. The meal was delicious. Go back, I'd have it again and again and again. So hypothetically, Nakuba could be cooking something crazy with Merlin. He could be chefing it up to the ultimate extreme with her. But the thing is, I just don't know what it could be. That's the thing. I feel like there's no clear path 90 chapters deep. And admittedly, don't get me wrong, Esterosa, the best meal in Seven Deadly Sins, was not being chefed up until when? Like, when were the commandments even introduced? Like, chapter 131 or something? And we didn't even get to see Esterosa immediately in that panel? Like, Esterosa was not cooking until, like, a good third of the way through the series. So, maybe, it is entirely possible that Merlin just hasn't turned on the burners yet. She's standing in the kitchen staring at us because she knows what she's planning to cook, but she hasn't turned on the stove, she hasn't preheated the oven, she hasn't even chopped the vegetables, nothing. She hasn't even darn thought of seasoning the meat. But with that being the case, I'm wondering, where are we going with Merlin? Because if she's cooking, and we're assuming she's cooking, it's not one of the things I said earlier where she's just like on standby and or is already like moralistically complete because she achieved her goal. What could Merlin hypothetically be cooking that for this first chunk of the narrative we're just standing by and watching, standing by and observing, standing by and doing all that good stuff? And hypothetically, just based on the recent interactions alone, the fact that she's a yes woman to Arthur now, the fact that she's sort of just standing by and observing everything, is I think she may indirectly be attempting to control chaos through controlling Arthur. It seems like to some degree, out of all of Arthur's men, she's the only one that legitimately doesn't do anything. She just stands by him at all times. And don't get me wrong, do not get me wrong, maybe the strongest being in the verse for some reason needs protection, but I highly doubt that. At least if Merlin's performance against Kath is to be believed, I highly doubt she's capable of protecting the full Chaos King. But just based on the fact that Arthur seems to simultaneously do everything he wants as long as she's supporting him, and the fact that Arthur seems to be, sucking on her fingers in the recent chapter, I think we have a pretty general idea that Merlin could attempt to be controlling Arthur to get exactly what she wants. However, the only thing is, I just don't know what Merlin would really want. Like, does Merlin really want to never see Meliodas and Elizabeth again? Like, is that just a thing she never wants to do? Maybe she'll see Elizabeth again, but she really never wants to see Meliodas. She really never wants to see King. She really never wants to see Diane. Like, I get it. They didn't have the closest of connections, but still, you're telling me every single non-human is something that Merlin's totally fine with just sealing away because they're all ugly? Like, really? Really? Is this what we're supposed to be buying here now? I don't know. I just feel like it's not the case. But then what else could she be cooking? Really? Like, unless she's trying to get Chaos to, like, just completely override Arthur. Because admittedly, considering she let Arthur get possessed by Chaos, by really not knowing the ramifications of what that would mean, I 100% believe that she never necessarily cared about Arthur. That's a vibe I get from the original series as a whole. Like, she was sad that Arthur got Excalibured. he got skewered, but he wasn't sad because, oh no, Arthur, my surrogate son, has fallen. She was sad because, like, oh no, my chaos, I cannot revive him. Like, legitimately, if she's just essentially ending up as a servant to chaos, kind of a parallel to the Lady of the Lake, then I suppose by standing by and watching Arthur slowly but surely go more and more mad, she's essentially just really making a new chaos vessel. Like, straight up vessel for chaos. Because, I'm sorry, Arthur, I get it, bro. Maybe you think chaos doesn't have a will of its own or any sort of thoughts in mind, but it literally imagined the world into existence. A much more stable world than you can imagine right now. It also made gods, like 3 of them, which then made their own species. They were all sentient. Arthur, what makes you think that thing that made you as you are now is no longer sentient? Like, for some reason now it doesn't have a will. I think in reality, maybe the ultimate game that Merlin's playing, the ultimate thing that Merlin is cooking, is just standing by in slowly but surely chipping away at Arthur's morality, chipping away at Arthur's sanity, chipping away at Arthur as a person. So Arthur, the man she raised, the vessel she prepared, can be just that, a vessel. Going back to the Kingdom Hearts analogy, Xehanort's plan in Birth by Sleep was not necessarily like a Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader thing, for the most part. He lies and says something like that. But considering the fact that he wanted a younger body anyway, I think he just wanted a younger body. He wanted an empty vessel. Terra fighting back, the lingering will being a thing, was something he was not all too happy about. That's why he tried to stuff him full of that nice, juicy, thick, heavy darkness, so he could just slide on in there, wiggle around a little bit, and get himself a new body. And while this is kind of indirect, I think the whole idea of wearing down a host so you can then have the vessel for what you want it to be is possibly the ultimate thing that Merlin wants. She does not want Arthur in control. She wants chaos. She wanted to free chaos. The only way for her to free chaos was putting him in Arthur, keeping chaos in Hawkmom, which just obviously was not a thing that was going to keep working based on the past 3,000 years of evidence from Merlin. But what she can do that she couldn't do to that pig, because of how it was built by the deities, was that she could chip away, slowly but surely, at the humanity and mentality of one man, by slowly but surely having a man try to become a deity and slowly but surely get consumed by said deity. She would have access to exactly what she really wanted: the pure embodiment of chaos, the magical expression of literal destruction and creation itself, the ultimate light and the ultimate darkness, and this perfect imperfect balance that makes them so amazing. But Arthur is currently in the way of that. So what's the best thing to do? Easy. Support Arthur in everything he does, because everything Arthur does is really just a reflection of chaos. All it is Arthur's influences slowly being jacked up to 11. I still do not believe anything that the original series nor Four Knights has shown me that Arthur would actually go out of his way to want to slaughter all the other races. I do not believe that Arthur would actually want to get rid of Meliodas. I do not believe Arthur from the original series would actually want to do any of that, even after all that happened to him, because it just doesn't seem like him. But Chaos never liked the other species. He didn't even like his own kids. He liked humans. So, a world for humans, by humans, of humans, sounds like a very Chaos thing to do. And of course, the closer and closer someone comes to reflecting Chaos's own beliefs, the less and less they are themselves, and the more and more they are just Chaos. So, by Merlin standing by, supporting, and making sure that no one else gets close to Arthur but her, no one else can influence Arthur but her, she's allowing the Chaos facade to chip away, bit by bit by bit, at Arthur's personality, until Arthur himself is nothing but a body, an empty husk, made to be used by the thing that created creation. And that could explain why Merlin seemed to be sad when Guinevere showed up, or at least had her eyes pointed down after Arthur was taken away from their interaction. Because now that Guinevere's in the picture, another person that's likely going to be by Arthur's side, another person that's likely going to be influencing his decision, another person that's likely going to be questioning Arthur and all that he does, at least based on Guinevere's own reactions to him up to this point, and seeing her immediate reaction to him now, Merlin's realizing that ultimately she now has, weirdly put, competition. She now has someone that could hypothetically restore Arthur or rebuild Arthur himself, instead of slowly but surely breaking away at Arthur to free the chaos within. And ultimately, I think that is what Merlin just may be cooking. And admittedly, this is all the purest, fattest, juiciest copium I've ever spit. Like, legitimately, I've gotten so little from Merlin that this is all I could hypothetically think of, based on all the stuff we have from our original series self to all the stuff we have now. I don't know. It's just really, really weird. Like I said, it feels like Merlin's cooking nothing, but she could be cooking everything. And that's the unfortunate thing about never having the full story. We're, as the series goes on, constantly going to be discussing, constantly going to be engaged, constantly going to be looking over the different things, the little tidbits and juicy bits of lore and character information that we can get, because right now we just don't have the full picture. And considering Seven Deadly Sins itself ended with us not having the full picture on Merlin, I can't imagine that Four Knights of the Apocalypse is going to take the most mysterious and mightiest mage of all Britannia and make her an easy read. However, I'm going to still keep doing my best to try and figure out what Merlin's motivations could be and where she's going to go in this deep, dark time, in this very, very, very chaotic land. However, those are my thoughts. Do you think Merlin has some sort of thing cooking? Do you think she has some sort of plan? Or do you think she's just being weird? Please tell me down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a page down below and support for as low as count 'em $1 a month. Got exclusive videos, early content, and more. You'll also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.